today we are going to learn to round to the hundredths place and to the tens place. And one of the tools that we use is a number line. So students are taught from kindergarten on that number lines can help them with math. Just a simple number line. And what we do to kind of help students visualizing what rounding actually is we turn this number line into a little roller coaster to help them figure out rounding. And I'll show you how we do that. So first we're going to start off rounding to the nearest hundred. And our number is 372. And the fact that we're rounding to the nearest hundred is really important. So we have students start out by drawing their little roller coaster, which is actually just a number line. And first we need to find two benchmark numbers. Since we're rounding to the hundredths place, I'm going to put a little dot here to help me remember. And I need to think about this number, and I need to find the hundreds that would be below it and above it, the number line. So I need to find out which hundred is a little bit less than this number and which hundred is a little bit more. The reason why I have them put this little dot here is because 300 is going to be your first benchmark number, and that's a kind of easy way to remember it. So I'll put our benchmark numbers there. And then students need to be able to count by hundreds and tens, so this should be a pretty simple thing for them to do. We have 300 here, the next 100 would be 400. Something that's a little trickier is the next step is we need to find a midpoint. So we need to find the number that would be between 300 and 400. Students know that this number is going to involve a 5 in some place, and hopefully they will figure out it is 350. Sometimes that's a little tricky, so we can think about 30 tens and 40 tens, and halfway in the middle there would be 35 tens. The last step that we have is placing the number that we're rounding somewhere on the number line. So we just look at this number, and I know it's greater than 300. I know it's greater than 350. It's not as big as 400, so I'm going to put it somewhere on this side of the number line. 372. To give the kids a little visual, what we like to do is make our little roller coaster car and tell students, you know, if this was a roller coaster car that stopped right here, which way would it roll? And it would roll down the hill. So 372 rounded to the nearest hundred is 400. If anything is at the midpoint, that always rounds forward as well. So that's to the hundredths place, and I'll show you with the same number how to round to the tens place. Again, we are going to make sure students are keyed into the fact that we're working to the nearest 10, and I'm going to put a little dot under the tens place. I'm going to make my roller coaster, and now I need to think about what would be a 10 that's a little bit less than this number and a 10 that would be a little bit more. Sometimes it's a little easier to think about 37 tens instead of 370, but whatever way your students come to it, the first benchmark number would be 370. The hundredths place isn't going to change because we're just working with the tens. Our next benchmark number would be 10 more, or one more group of 10, which would be 38 tens or 380. Our benchmark, or our midpoint, would then be 375. And again, we're going to look at this number, decide where it would fall on our little number roller coaster. I know that 372 is less than 375, so I can put it anywhere on this side. Think about that little visual. If this was a roller coaster car and it stopped, which way would it roll? And this time we would roll back down the hill. So 372 rounded to the nearest 10 would be 370. Hope that helps, and thank you.